Hello, my fair weather friends. This is Tracy Brown coming to you today to do another segment on. I might change the name, but for right now, I want to call it metaphysical beauty. And the reason why I'm calling it metaphysical beauty is because this world that I am is really, really weird. Not a little weird, a lot weird. Weird is one of the things that people like to say when they're uncomfortable about something. You say it to people, people say it about you. And metaphysical people, unfortunately, we're weird. We're just weird. But I don't like the word weird. So, what if we take the weird out? And what if we begin to describe us as metaphysically beauty? Metaphysically beautiful. Now, that might be harder to place into your tongue and make you say, and it takes so much work. Well, who cares? Put in the work. Say it anyway. Change the dynamic of what weird looks like. I was talking to one of my friend's daughters, and she was saying the same thing to me. She goes, she is so special and so metaphysically inclined. And I think I said to her, I was like, oh my gosh, she sounds just like my grandson, who's really weird. And she goes, I don't like to use that word. And although at first, I think in my dialogue with her, I didn't give that credit, but now I have to give it credit. I think it's amazing to have a mom that is choosing not to use the word weird when she has a very special and gifted little child. So, for those of you that are peeking into this world like this, because you know there's something about you that is metaphysically beautiful, that others would call weird, but you always have these things that you see and that you say, and you're like, did anybody else see that? Like, was it just me? And come join us. Come be metaphysically beautiful. So before we begin, whenever I do my tarot readings on celebrities or even in your personal readings, I always give a prayer. The prayer that I use constantly and consistently doesn't work in this format, right? But there is another prayer that I say often. And I even put it on my business cards, which I stopped using because I used to make these bracelets. And the way you would organize the prayer and the bracelet, you would have to say this prayer, and then your wishes come true. Now, from what I've been told by other people, it works. So, from now on in my metaphysical beauty readings, I will be saying this prayer. And so, the prayer goes, it's called the Jabez Prayer. And there is a book, just Google it, on the Jabez Prayer. And so, it goes like this. Oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, so that I may not cause pain. My favorite prayer, I'm going to be saying it every video. I hope it resonates with your soul, and I hope you get the meaning of the prayer. There's a whole book on this prayer, and we can do a whole video on this prayer. This is a very powerful prayer, but it says a lot in a few words. Oh, and it's 1 Corinthians 4:10. It says a lot. It says, please expand my territory. What do you have to do when you're asking God, the universe, to expand your territory? What do you have to do? So this prayer kind of states it in just a few words, and it is perfect. Okay, on with the show. We're going to talk about spirit animals tonight. I am using a book called Spirit Animals Pocket Guide to Spirit Animals by Dr. Stephen Farmer. I think it's a really good book. Um, but I think if you don't have the book, just Google the information that you want. It's all on the internet. And the reason why we're talking about spirit animals tonight is because I got a hit, which I get most of my hits between 4 and 5 in the morning. Sometimes a little early at 3. I hate when I get it too early because then sometimes I don't go back to sleep. If I get it by 5, okay, I'm okay with 5 o'clock, but 3 o'clock is just not fair. So I just tell the spirits, I was like, listen, I love you. And I know you guys are trying to talk to me, but humans need to sleep. So when you communicate with me, could it be like 4:30ish, 5? And then I'll be receptive. I'll hear you more clearly. And so they've been getting later and later. There's something about the communication that doesn't happen after dawn. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that. Most communications, if there's something, it comes in our dreams. And it comes anywhere between 3 and dawn, right? And that's, so I got a hit this morning, but now I forgot what the hit was. Got a hit this morning. And spiritually, the zebra came to me, and then I was like, okay, fine, I'll talk about animals and spiritual totems and things of that nature, right? So that's what we're gonna do. So it's starting out with, let's start out with zebra, all right? And I'm gonna point out to you that, let's see if I can. Okay. Oh, here it is. So, in this book, Pocket Guide to Spirit Animals, and I'm going to post it as a screenshot rather than showing you the book right now because I have it all bookmarked. In the book, Zebra, I'll read it to you. It says you're looking at things with black and white, all or nothing, with limits, instead of looking at the choices and the flexibility. If you're having a conflict with someone, work to compromise it. Don't stay stuck in right or wrong versus this or that. Like, there's a gray area, but there's no gray in a zebra, right? According to this book. Be willing to question what you have. To this point, consider the reality and the illusions. In any situation where there's a disagreement, rather than being confrontational, try less direct methods, such as persuasion. But I also Googled it. I Googled zebra, and I like the Google explanation a little better. And one of the things that I've learned about the zebra, and the reason why, now I remember why, now I remember. I have a palm tree outside of my terrace, and it looks like there's an animal coming from the tree. And it looks like this. And so I sent the picture off to people in my book club, and I was like, what do you see? Ultimately, we all came up with zebra, which totally makes sense. And from the Google, I like the Google explanation over the book. So anything that's written is not golden. I think this book is a great source. If you don't have the book, don't drive yourself crazy. Google it. And so what I've learned from the Google is that the zebra's look is like opposite, right? So the stripes are constantly going, although it's very seemingly very uniform, they're not necessarily going in the same direction. So it's bringing attention to some tension. If you look at a zebra, it has very positive power and magic, where opposites meet and not so extreme. Does that make sense? If I can get you to understand why the zebra is outside my window, it's about harmony with opposites. Also, zebras are considered wild horses, all right, that cannot be contained. And when I read that, I thought, oh, I wonder if they tried. Did they? Because they're such beautiful wild horses, right? So I wonder if humans try to contain zebras. Now, when a zebra fights a lion, it uses its hoof and can break the jaw of a lion. And you would think nobody can beat out a lion, right? You would think that. Well, a zebra can. I'm sure there are other animals that can, but you know what lion is. We think we're the best. But come on, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, lion sleeps tonight. I love that song. In any case, I don't know if that song came out in a new movie. Definitely is in an old movie. But it breaks the jaw of the lion. All right? And it comes in a form of communication, right? The jaw, right? Comes in a form of communication. So instead of thinking it as someone is offending you and you need to break the jaw of the lion, what if the meaning is to break your own jaw spiritually? To prevent you from saying things that are too aggressive. You didn't think about it that way, right? Well, metaphysically, it's our job to understand how everyone else is out there and how we respond to everyone else. It is our responsibility. So becoming metaphysically beautiful is the objective. And it takes time and it takes patience, and don't beat yourself up if you're not always successful. But when I get the zebra totem, it means to compromise your values, don't allow jealousy in, be wild and be free and be expansive, which is everything that I am in terms of being wild, free, and expansive. I try not to allow jealousy come in. And in any case, the zebra is right outside my window, and it's a reminder of what my job is every day. I'm not allowed to be jealous of anyone, but I'm human, so jealousy just might walk in, but release it right away. Let it go. All right? I like to let go of jealousy by complimenting the very thing I think I'm jealous of. So if somebody has like an amazing pair of jeans on and I can't wear jeans, you will never see me in a pair of jeans. I'll be like, man, girl, those jeans, you are working it. Like, and it's interesting that when you push out what's jealousy at first, if you can identify it, because you may not be able to identify it right away, when you push it out, you kind of go, that felt good. I made her feel good, but I felt good saying it. All right? So I'm going to go through the book and look at some of the totems that have come through my life throughout time. And I also want to invite you to start looking at your totems. All right? I am very, very, very drawn to butterflies. And I got a little jealous of Mariah Carey because I felt like she took ownership of the butterflies. And why? Why did she take ownership of the butterfly? I also got very jealous of the gays who took ownership of the rainbow. Why do they get to have ownership over the rainbow? This is what I'm thinking as I'm growing, learning, maturing. I don't own the butterflies. I don't own the damn rainbow. Get over myself, I say. So, one of my favorite totems is butterfly. And again, I'm reading from the book. I invite you to compare the book to the Google impression. And you just have to put in magical meaning of blah, 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 blah. Butterfly, camel, boar, bird, crow. Magical meaning of. In this case, I love butterflies. So with butterflies, it says lighten up and stop taking everything so seriously. Get ready for a big change, one where an old habit, way of thinking, or lifestyle is going out and a new being it's coming in. It's time to make some changes. It's time to make some consideration that things just need to change. All right? Another one that comes to me constantly, whether dead or alive, is the damn bee. I know now that when the bee comes in, it's telling me, honey, you're about to get busy. And as much as I don't want to believe it, I go, oh, bee. Within a week, something comes through and I am busy and dizzy and doing this. And it's so much fun when life changes that way. The bee represents that change. Also, the bee represents time to get organized because you're going to get busy, right? So clean out your closet, throw things away. I know it doesn't make sense, but you have the time today to do it because the bee is saying you're going to get so busy you won't have time. So we got to start listening to these animals. Also, bees are very, very committed. So it might be something about commitment, either work or love. It's up to you. The other day, I thought about the giraffe because these, I think they were in a zoo, but they didn't look like they had enough room to roam. And so I looked up the meaning of giraffe because it triggered me, right? And I love the meaning. So although I was upset that the giraffe didn't have enough room to roam, it was still a message for me. So you have to look at things a little differently. Even though I was like, that makes me really sad. Then I have to go, what's the message? And then it comes down to giraffe meaning, magical meaning is keep your head up, have faith, trust your gut in any situation you're dealing with at present. You might have to reach a bit. Get it? Keep your eyes on bigger possibilities over the horizon. Don't you love that? Grasshopper comes a lot in my community. What is it? There's two. There's grasshopper, and then there's grasshopper. What's the other one? There's another one. Grasshopper, and then there's two of them. One is greener than the other. Grasshopper, I think, is browner. One is green. If I can't think of the name, they both come in my community a lot. And when they come, they try to attack me. I see them now, and I take pictures of them. One was on my terrace, and I took a picture of it because I always feel like people aren't going to believe me. And so I was taking out the garbage, and I saw the grasshopper. And I knew it. I was like, you're going to jump at me. In my head, right? I was like, you're going to jump at me. And so I moved around it to not spook it. It didn't matter what I did. It jumped at me. Again, I screamed. I was like, no! My neighbors probably think I'm a little loopy. But then I came back up and I looked at the meaning of grasshopper. Remember, everything has a symbolic symbol. Start looking at the symbolism. And with grasshopper, it means be fearless, take a leap of faith, do what you're being urged to do. Listen to your inner voice. You are about to receive some uplifting news, and that could only benefit you and others very well. Pay close attention to detail and to your intuitive, remember the inner voice, prompting, and trust your intuitive voice. It is the God's voice inside of you. All right? Now, there's more going on here. Buy the book, Google it, do your part. I'm just here to begin that process of looking at things. I was once with my sister. She had come to California. And I kept pointing out birds to her because I'm just weird like that, right? And she kind of forgot how weird I was. Oh, wait, I'm not weird. I'm metaphysically beautiful. And we were walking down the street, and I was like, oh my God, Terry, what a pretty bird. And then in another moment, Terry, look at that bird right there. Oh my God, there's a whole, bushel of birds right there. Not birds, butterflies. My sister said, which I thought was so cute, she goes, I've never noticed butterflies as much as I do now because you have pointed them out. And I was like, really? I always noticed them. And I think that's what I'm doing to you. I feel like you guys are my sister. Start noticing everything. All right? The hummingbird. Oh, I miss my hummingbirds. So I have this terrace and I feed the hummingbirds and I love my hummingbirds. I only have this apartment because when I walked in, I thought the apartment was really small. I mean, you all have seen my apartment out. And I was like, I'm not staying in such a small place. I was just coming out of a studio. And this is a 1-bedroom. And I was like, I'm not going into a small place. Again, there's a little loopiness in it. And there was somebody working the apartment. And the real estate guy went to talk to the maintenance guy. And I walked in completely disgusted. And I went out on the terrace because the door had been open. I went out on the terrace and I was talking to God. And I was like, God, I didn't really get what I wanted. And a hummingbird came right here. And I turned around to the real estate guy and I was like, I'll take it. Because although I didn't read the mind of the hummingbird, I got the message, which was God trying to say, girl, are you kidding me? I gave you everything you wanted. You better take this apartment. I just knew that that's what the hummingbird was trying to say to me. And at that point, I didn't hesitate. I turned right around and I was like, where do I sign the paperwork? Now, I've been in this apartment 4 years now. And hummingbirds are always around, but they didn't come around this summer. And that made me kind of sad. I didn't see them as much. I don't even see them as much out in the complex that I live in. It made me really sad not to see my hummingbirds. And then the food that I give them, I don't know what happened this time. I can't, somehow or another, the food turned yellow. And it's red. I don't know how it happened. Maybe they're mad at me because I didn't take care of them this year. I don't know. But I want my hummingbirds back. I miss them. Oh well. Maybe they went to somebody else that needs them. But the magical meaning of hummingbird is you need to be flexible. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns in your life or in the next few days. You're going through some very heart-opening kind of experiences, and you will quite naturally draw more and more love into your life. Well, that now makes a lot of sense. When I first took this apartment, I was not working out of my home. I was working out of my store called the Green Man Store, which is the person that I told you that does the tea leaf readings in one of my other videos. And I invite you to, her name's Monica, to call Monica if you want some type of alternate type of reading. And she does it right over the phone. And if you live in California, she could do it in person. It doesn't really matter, but don't stress yourself out. I know experts, and we do it all over the phone. And when I took this apartment, I did not know that I was going to wind up working from home. I had no idea. So now I get that the hummingbirds were there to encourage me to be flexible, that there's going to be new twists and turns, and they're about emotional sweetness into your life. You need it. And to quite naturally draw more and more love into your life. And I really get that, because I really get the love coming through the YouTube channel and through my clients. Like, you guys offer only the nicest of words, and that's what the hummingbird represented this whole time. So if they're not coming around me anymore, let's just hope all of that meaning is going to somebody else that needs it. And let's also pray that they receive it much in the same way I have worked to receive the messages through animals. So we're about to end. Oh, no, you need to know this. Okay, so I'm sitting outside my terrace, and it's late at night, and the clouds are up in the sky. And I'm looking at the clouds, and I'm like, that's a moose. That's a moose in the sky. It's a moose. Every time this happens, there's nobody there around me. I'm like, does anyone see the moose in the sky? The clouds are out. There was a moose in the sky. A moose. Clear as day. You don't have to believe me. These things are true, and they happen to me. They're true. And I'm sitting there by myself, and the clouds aren't moving. And I swear to God, I was like, okay, because I talk, and I go, okay, I'm going to get up and get my camera. But the minute I move, you're going to dissipate. So I sat there contemplating whether or not I wanted to get my camera or just enjoy the moment. So I stayed there, and it looked like the moose stayed there the whole time too, which is weird. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go get my camera. So I run, I go to get my camera, I take a picture. The moose isn't there. It's just not there. It's not there. Because the clouds had begun to reshape and take the moose away. And I was like, Spirit, at least let me prove to people what I see. Don't make me crazy. In any case, the fact that I saw the moose was the most important thing. Not that I could prove it to you. So with that being said, look up moose, Google it. But in the book, moose means you can feel proud of your recent accomplishments and share it enthusiastically with others, not to be boastful or competitive, but for the simple joy of sharing. Now, that makes so much sense to me, because that's how I'm creating these videos. I'm creating these videos because there's something that I have to say. And YouTube is just oversaturated with psychic readings and horoscope readings. And I wanted to do something different. And I didn't want to compete against my other metaphysical beauties. I just wanted to do something different. And the moose represented the beginning of the thought of putting these videos out, but also reminding me I am not being competitive. I am enthusiastically presenting something different to the world. You see how it all makes sense in the long run? I love this stuff. Okay. I just want to so I always laugh because I have this joke inside my head and you guys don't know the joke. Okay, so the crows love me. period. Now, I don't want to admit that I have like weird stuff inside of me. I don't want to admit that. I refuse to admit it. And yet, the crow is one of those animals that how many people really say they love crows? Think about it. Do you know anyone that says, my favorite bird is the crow? There's a book out called The Rainbow Crow, which amazingly explains how the crow got so black, because in the black of the crow, you will see rainbows. I love rainbows. I love the crow. It's all very fitting, right? So I would point it out to my grandbaby. I'd be like, oh my God, Ezra, there's a crow. And there's these other birds. Oh my God, I got these jokes inside my head and you guys aren't getting it. So there's these other birds that I love, and they're wild green parrots. And the wild green parrots follow me everywhere, absolutely everywhere, even to Israel. They followed me to Israel. I pointed it out to the tour people that I was with. Everyone saw the wild green parrot in Israel. They follow me everywhere. They love me. So, we're all sitting in a car. It was my son driving. His wife was in the front seat. Ezra was next to me. Tony was in the middle. And I was on the other end. And the wild green parrots have a very specific, like, sound. I can't do it right. It's very specific. So when I hear it, like, immediately I go, and I was like, and I look to, because they're really fast, and I look, and sometimes you can't see the green in them because of the way they fly, but if they happen to go, and I've got pictures. You don't even understand. If I tell you everything I went through. Okay, so they were in a valley with me when I was raising my son the whole time. And then I went to Koreatown, and I was like, oh, it's city, so they're not going to come to Koreatown. All over, everywhere I went, these birds were in a tree, screaming and yelling and trying to let me know they followed me from the valley, right? And I stayed in Koreatown for 5 years, right? And then I came to move, and then the last day I came to move, whenever I walk in a specific direction, I didn't this time, right? I walked in the opposite direction. I always walk to the train station very specific. I'm a fixed sign, so I go in very specific. And I didn't this time. And I walked opposite. I never walked this way. And when I walked that way, the birds, thousands of them, were waiting in a tree. And not even a full tree, because they like to go in full trees where you can't find them. A very abandoned, unleafed tree, and they were just sitting, and I was like, oh. It was my last day in Koreatown, my last day. And so they let me take pictures of them. I still have the pictures. If I can find it, I'll include it in this video. They let me take pictures of them, and it was just so beautiful and just so nice of them to, like, say goodbye to me. And I was like, bye guys, bye, thank you, I really enjoyed your experience for 5 years here in Koreatown. And you just made my experience like, all right. So we were in the car together, and then I heard the noise, and I said out loud, my son, who knows who I am, so my son doesn't question me, and I go out loud, I go, oh, there's my birds. There's my birds. And Ezra, who's a little smart aleck, he was 4 at the time. Ezra goes, they're not your birds. And I was like, what? And he goes, they're not your birds, Dory. And I was like, Ezra, they're my birds. Like, he goes, they're everybody's birds, which he's right. I get where he was coming from, and so then I just was teasing him. I was like, "No, they're my birds. They're my birds." He goes, "They're not your birds. They're everybody's birds." However, cut to my love of crows. So I started pointing them out to him since we made such a big thing about the wild green parrots. And I said, "Ezra, remember we talked about the wild green parrots?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, there's a crow there. That's another one of my favorite birds. They're my totem. They show up a lot. They're always protective of me." And so Ezra goes, at some point, I mentioned it enough times, and Ezra goes, "What's my bird?" And as he said that, there are these seagulls, which are normally by the sea. But these damn seagulls show up all the time. And so I looked at Ezra, who a crow was here, a seagull was here, and I said, "The seagull, that seagull is your totem." I was like, "Why would you see a seagull in a parking lot? They're normally by the sea." And he goes, "Oh, that's right. The seagull is my bird." So, long story short, to read you what the magical meaning of seagull is, it means you're opening up your communication with the realm of nature and spirits. Doesn't that make sense when you're teaching a 4-year-old about nature and life and what he's able to see now? That's what the seagull represented for him in actual time. Also means to particularly open up about fairies and water spirits. Weird. Or is it just beautiful? All right. I'm going to end this with my last one here. The woodpecker. Oh, no, it's the zebra. I'm going to end it there. Did you guys enjoy that? Now, your job is to mention in comments what your totem animal is, if you already know it, how you can figure out what your totem animal is if it shows up too much. Like, we can guarantee the butterfly is Mariah Carey's totem. She loves it, she feels it, she's put it on her albums. It's her totem. What is yours? And if you don't know what is yours, it is time to observe your environment. They want to talk to you. Open up. Open up, my metaphysical beauties, because it's just time. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this segment on spirit animals. I love you. Goodbye.